Hi, this is our PAD 713 modified case study project that was completed by Caitlin McCann, Oki Olanka, Chanel Rodriguez, Michelle De La Cruz, and Esmera Tawfiq. The purpose of our modified case study was to give a detailed report of the 2006 Department of Veteran Affairs data breach. Throughout our analysis, we were able to uncover the various stakeholders that were involved in this issue, as well as the decisions and outcomes that came from what had happened. We also looked specifically at the incident itself and the policies and procedures that were in place, and what could potentially be put into place to prevent this from happening again. Before we can really look at the 2006 data breach, we really need to first examine the Department of Veteran Affairs itself, and to give a background on what exactly the purpose is. The department dates back to the early 19th century, and the main purpose is to cater to the welfare of veterans and their families, especially in the areas of care, social support, and benefits. The core values of this department are integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. The Department of Veteran Affairs is the second largest federal department and contains more than 300,000 employees. It's important when we talk about the Department of Veteran Affairs to look at what services they really are bringing to the people they are serving. Currently, there are 151 medical centers, 820 community-based outpatient clinics, 300 vet centers, 56 regional offices, 131 national cemeteries, and 90 state cemeteries. It administers its operations through the VA Central Office, the Veterans Benefit Administrations, the Veterans Health Administration, and National Cemetery Administration. After reviewing the history of the Department of Veterans, it's important for us now to look at the actual data breach that took place. On May 3, 2006, an information technology specialist working for the Department of Veteran Affairs had a laptop and external hard drive stolen from their home in Montgomery County, Maryland. The device had unencrypted data which contained the personal information of 26.5 million people, and it included social security numbers, dates of birth, and disability rankings for veterans, spouses, and countless military personnel. The issue with the data breach was that the employee of the Department of Veteran Affairs was responsible for planning and composing various analytical projects and was deeply involved in policies and programs. The problem here, however, was that when the device was stolen, the employee was working on a special, self-initiated project in which he really didn't have the rights to access these files. According to the employee, at the time he had possessed 6 files containing VA data. These files included a BIRLS extract, which had information containing 26 million records. As previously stated, this contained social security numbers, dates of birth, service members, and degree of disability. In addition to this file, there was a VHA enrollment database, which represented 5 million records containing addresses, telephone numbers, and there was also a file that had information on 6,700 service members who had been exposed to mustard gas and other substances. It was later determined that as many as 2.2 million military personnel were suspected to have been in the records of the BIRLS data that was stolen, in addition to 1.1 million active duty personnel, 4,300,000 National Guard members, and 645,000 National Reserve members. While the employee had the access to these multiple databases, his supervisors asserted that he did not have the authority granted for his personal project. After the incident had occurred on May 3rd, the employee had rightfully reported this matter to his supervisor, Deputy Assistant Michael McLendon. VA regulations require all VA employees to immediately report actual or attempted violations of criminal law to their supervisor, management, or the OIG office. It is at that point that VA management officials are responsible for notifying the VA police. It was not until May 5th, 2 days after the incident, that the information security officer interviewed the employee regarding the facts surrounding the case. In these conversations, they had the employee write down the timeline of events and describe what database extracts were compromised during the home invasion. When Deputy Assistant McLendon had received the submission, he had decided that it was in the best interest to rewrite the document before handing it over to his supervisor. By rewriting the document, it was later found that McLendon was attempting to mitigate risk by stating that there were safeguards in place regarding the stored files, when this was not the case. It was not until May 10, 2006 that VA Chief of Staff Thomas Baumann or Deputy Secretary Gordon Mansfield were made aware of the incident. The delay in reporting of the incident may be attributed to the fact that those directly involved in the oversight of the case did not find an immediate urgency in the matter. The individuals whose information was affected by the breach, as well as Congress, were not made aware of the occurrence until May 10, 2006. Following report of the data breach, the Office of Inspector General arrived with intentions of conducting a full investigation to review the incident, and to make recommendations for better safeguarding procedures and to determine if criminal prosecution of said employee was necessary. Now that we have reviewed the incident in full, we must take a look at the stakeholders who were directly involved with the incident. The key stakeholders held accountable during this time were broadly classified into several sectors: the White House, Congress, and VA leadership and operations, whom had the decision-making powers. Other stakeholders involved those whose personal information was breached, active members of the National Guard, and active members of the National Reserve. The most crucial restructuring of policy and procedure, however, was left to VA leadership, as they were directly obstructed by the incident. Now that we have had a chance to review the incident in full and take a look at the key stakeholders who were involved, we can now begin to review the decisions and outcomes that were made based upon reports by the Office of Inspector General. The U.S. Assistant Attorney decided not to prosecute the employee for taking the VA information home. Notification letters were sent to those whose information may have been exposed, and a call center and website were created to provide information on the breach. Assistant Secretary for Policy, Planning, and Preparedness, Mr. Dennis Duffy, was placed on administrative leave, and Deputy Assistant for Policy, Mr. Michael McLendon, resigned. Retraining of all staff on privacy and cybersecurity was made a priority within the department. Free credit monitoring services were given to those whose information was exposed. Revamping of IT security programs and computer securities was also enforced. The department began refraining from using people's social security numbers, and they began encrypting 18,000 laptops. 6,000 employees were also transferred to the Office of Information Technology. Overall, the 2006 Department of Veteran Affairs data breach has led to considerable changes in both policy and procedure within the VA. The investigation conducted by the OIG had led to procedures that were put into place to prohibit this breach from happening again.